be having an interview with one of the leading political figures in Gombe. He's also an humanitarian and a deeply cultural man, the chieftain of the All Progressive Congress and the former chairman of the NNPP in Gombe, Honorable Rambi Ayala. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. This is the first time on the program,
Yes.
but we've had several interactions over the years,
Absolutely.
and it's always a pleasure. I'm actually looking forward to having this conversation with you after such a long time.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, now you are known as a religious leader, a political leader, and also a community leader. And I also know that you also have very strong cultural influence on the people. How is it wearing so many hats at once? Because you're not just a politician, you're also a community leader. You're also well respected within the religious cycle. So how is it wearing so many hats at once?
Well, I tell you what, first of all, I'd like to give God the glory for giving us the privilege to have this interface. As a person, I see myself being a total human being, relating, giving your best wherever you find yourself, and having a humble beginning also tells a lot about some of the things that one does at the moment. Well, it's a real privilege having this also opportunity that God has given to me and to people like us to also contribute our little quarter, be it within the religious sphere, the political stuff, or whichever place we find ourselves. I feel one would just need to be himself. One would just need to see how impactful, what little contribution one could make to humanity, so that humanity will be better for it.
But thinking about Gombe and being a leader in Gombe, Gombe is going to be 30 years.
Yes.
This 2026 by October, I guess, I presume. I think 1st of October.
Yes.
So Gombe is going to be 30 years. Looking at all the governors from Oji to Bawa, the military administrators, then the civilian administrators under Ashidu, Dankwambo, Goje now. Meanwhile, how far has Gombe, the sojourn of Gombe been?
Well, if you want to look at rate in a scale of 1 to 10, and comparatively with other states that were created perhaps on the same dates, there with Gombe State, you would rate Gombe very high in terms of development in whichever sphere, whichever indices you want to take, and look at the sojourn so far. 30 years of progressive development, 30 years of wonderful leadership. We've been so blessed with those whom God has charged with the responsibility of leading the state from inception, from when the call was made, 1st October to date. You could see 1st October 1996 to date. You could, from the military administration, like you alluded to, Group Captain Oji, who had on him the responsibility of putting a template at that time when the state was created, and then Bawa, who also came in to work in it. And then by 1999, when the political whistle was blown, God gave us a man, late Alhaji Abu Hashid of blessed memory. Again, you would say, given the resources available at that time within his purview, most of the things, if you look at, for instance, ministries and other places where governments and the activities of governance started up at that time, were privately owned individual homes, which some people of good disposition in Gombe donated, some rented at that time. So he was able to, those who at the inception of the civilian administration in 1999, I would say personally that Governor Habuashidu did his utmost best. Of course, since politics is an engagement with the people, and of course power is given by God, by the tail end of his administration, he sought for a second tenure, which the people thought otherwise. And then we had His Excellency Mohammed Danjuma Goje. I mean, if you look at way back, if you look at his achievement also, you could see that there were a lot of activities opening up the rural roads. I mean, not just concentrating within Gombe metropolis. You also activities, institutions such as the Gombe State University, the International Airport, among other achievements that Gombe has so far. I mean, is it not wonderful? It's not surprising that Gombe was carved out from Bauchi State, but Gombe had airports
Airport before
because of
Bauchi State.
visionary leadership, before Bauchi State, among other institutions. Gombe had a state-owned institution even before Bauchi thought about having something like that. So you could see that the kind of leadership we've been so blessed with.
And Dankombo also did pretty well.
Immediately after him, His Excellency Professor Ibrahim Hassan Dankombo stepped in, and I was privileged to be part of the Dankombo administration as a legislator, and we were able to also work together, and there were laudable achievements, again, both in terms of human capital development, in terms of physical deliverables that we could see in Gombe. We could also see other institutional development that he was able to bring to bear. And then today we also are privileged to also have His Excellency Alhaji Mohammed Inuwa stepping into this leadership position. And by every standard today, somebody who has been to Gombe maybe some years back and has not been able to come back to Gombe will be so surprised. Will be from the development that we could see today. I mean, in terms of infrastructure, again, the interesting thing is that successive administrations have not jettisoned what their predecessors did. Instead, they built upon it. Yes, there has been continuity in it, and appreciating the fact that government in itself is a continuum. And so taking it from that point, maybe a point to drive that particular issue home is when His Excellency Dankombo started the mega park, for instance.
Yes.
And then when this administration came into place, it was not jettisoned because it is still government resources, it is still the Gombe people resources. It was completed and other laudable projects.
And the interesting thing about the mega park is that former governor Dankombo is in the PDP.
Yes.
The current governor is in the APC.
Yes.
And when he completed that project, he named it after his predecessor, who is in the opposition, who is in the PDP, and named it. So it shows a level of maturity and politics without bitterness in Gombe. Would you say?
Absolutely. Of course, that speaks to the issue. And of course, you could see also the fact that some of those projects have not been abandoned makes Gombe a blend, a beautiful blend in terms of the kind of leadership we've had and then the nature of the development we're having. And today, I am confident, we're also praying that after the tenure of His Excellency Governor Mohammed Inuwa, the person that whoever God will bring to succeed him would also maybe add value to the kind of development we've seen. I've seen some of the legacy projects that is going on now. Legacy projects like having what we may consider the three arms zone, where the government house will be here, the judiciary will also have a fair share of a beautiful edifice, and then the State House of Assembly as well.
Then the secretariat.
The state secretariat. So if you look at the present state of perhaps the judiciary, for instance, I mean, it requires a facelift. I mean, when Gombe became a state, most courts were holding in people's homes. And as a minister in the Temple of Justice, I believe that a lot needs to be done.
Oh, that's true. You're also a lawyer. That's something I left out.
So I think given the present situation, this legacy project that is going on, for me, I would believe that it's going to go a long way in enhancing the effectiveness of the judiciary and, of course, even the legislature as well. Beyond maybe physical development, infrastructural development, hey, you go to the Gombe State Government House today. I mean, compared to when we started from the Abu Ashidu's regime till date, you would be happy that you are from Gombe State. You'll be happy that it's also best to add up to the 7 wonders of this world by manner of speaking.
Okay.
Given the fact that a lot has been done by the governor and the administration in this particular dispensation.
But let's just quickly look at, since you're talking about the administration, which is an APC administration in Gombe, let's talk about APC's performance, generally speaking. You were a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party. You were the chairman of the NNPP in Gombe, if I got that right.
Yes.
And you led the NNPP into the election in Gombe. Now you're in the APC. How do you assess the performance of the APC government, both in Gombe and at the national level, thinking about the fact that the APC seems to have consolidated power significantly. A lot of defection of governors and co into the APC at national level. And in Gombe too, we've had defection of members of the House of Assembly from other parties into the APC. How do you assess this? And are you worried about the overdominance of the APC?
No, well, this is politics. Politics is a game of interest. And by the way, I've also, and which I believe is right, the party formation in Nigeria is not ideologically based, but it's interest based. That explains why there is fluidity in terms of a movement of politicians from one political party to the other, so that in such a way their interests will be better nest. Within that, I think yes, if you look at the performance of the APC as a political party, starting from Gombe here, for instance, before we now get to the national, we just stated that the present administration has done remarkably well. In whichever parameter you look at, you want to rate the government, you say that Governor Mohammed Inuya provided such an amount of quality of leadership in terms of development.
But there would also be the argument that the revenue he has gotten is far more than any other governor in the history of Gombe.
Well, talking about revenue, of course, if we have seen activities being done, if we are seeing, if we are rating and we are applauding development in terms of rural road construction, and then even the city road construction and other institutions or infrastructures that are being developed, you would say that to an extent, I mean, generally speaking, that the funds being received, I am not in a position to know how much for now, but I believe that given what we are seeing, I think you could come to Tumfure, for instance, you could see that the Tumfure has been opened up in terms of road development and other infrastructures. Maybe the spokesperson of government could better articulate that. But for me, as an average person, I believe that the government has done well. Then talking about the government of APC and the influx of people from other political parties, including myself, into the APC, one would want to ask, what are the reasons? I mean, what are some of the things that start attracting people into APC? You would certainly give an applause to the kind of leadership by being provided by the president, His Excellency Senator Ahmed Bola Tinubu. I mean, if you look at the quality of leadership that, given what he inherited, the kind of country he inherited, I mean, and he has never shied away from it. He has inherited both assets and liability, and he's been working seriously hard to ensure that we have met very much gains as far as a nation. And then if you look at it, that people are moving into APC is an eloquent testimony that the government is doing very well.
The fear that have been expressed in certain quarters about the risk of the one-party state.
Well, I don't see one-party state coming to play, but I could see that you still could see the voices of the opposition. I mean, people trying to talk about the ADC and maybe other political parties, talk about the alignment and realignment of other forces from the other divide. But that doesn't take the fact that today, in terms of security, for instance, you could see that the government is talking tough, and the government is taking, I mean, measures that we will go to sleep as citizens. If you are looking at it from whichever parameter, the economic indices in this country today, comparatively, or the GDP and other variables that we want to use to assess this government.
A parting shot, how do you see the political landscape in Gombe 2027? Is the APC still poised to retain Gombe? And do you think that the people of Gombe will still keep faith with that party?
I'm a member of the APC, and I believe that we are good to go.
Sorry, I'm not a member of the APC.
Yeah, I know.
And I have my
doubts.
I have my doubts.
Well, I'm a politician. I've been on the political terrain for a while. I've had the opportunity of standing for 2 successive and successful elections, so I should be able to gauge the temperature as far as politics is concerned. When it is time for politics will be played, and I can assure you, already we don't have a party called PDP. They've gone on a self-destructive movement, and they've been obliterated by themselves. And so we're looking at, you now ask, from between now and maybe the next election, which is some few months away from us, can we also have any political party that will... APC is already rock solid on the ground. APC is already, like you said initially, is drawing. In fact, in the Gombe State House of Assembly, a House of Assembly of 24 members, you have only one person that is in the opposition who is also eyeing jumping ship, perhaps to the PDP. It will be in his interest to come to
to
the
the APC.
APC, but it is his own choice to. But the facts still remain. I'm confident that as a member of the APC, I think we are good to go.
Mm.
From the state level. At the national level, if you maybe count on your fingers number of states that are today controlled.
Do you think President Bola Tinubu, with all these issues, insecurity, banditry, terrorism, the tax law, and some of the social controversies, will still win 2027?
He did not create those problems. He's just been a tool to ensure that the problems are being solved. And he is, like I said earlier, he is doing everything humanly possible, and we could see the results being manifest.
So you think he would win?
He is top on security, is doing very well on the economy, and talking about politically speaking, when you put him back in politics, he is what I would call a professor emeritus as far as Nigerian politics is concerned.
Apparently, you are really fond of the president. And let's anchor this conversation here. Yeah. Even if we have another 1 hour to spend, we would still exhaust it. But it's always a pleasure speaking with you, Honorable Rambi Ayala, a political leader and a chieftain of the All Progressive Congress in Gombe.